Hey friends, it's Laurie. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today I'm making a spring welcome wreath and I'm using supplies from Michael's and the Dollar Tree. Getting started, I'm using an 18-inch grapevine wreath that I picked up at Michael's. My largest flower on the wreath will be this bunch of purple variegated lilies from the Dollar Tree. I'm keeping the leaves with my flowers and using my clippers, I'm cutting about a 3 to 4 inch stem. Now that each of my flowers are on single stems, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and evenly space them around the center of the wreath. When you're done, stand back and take a look and make sure that you're happy with their placement. I'm adding 2 bunches of the Dollar Tree pink hydrangeas, and once again, I'm keeping the leaves and I'm cutting the stems at about 3 to 4 inches in length. I have 12 bunches and I'm adding the first 6 in between each of the lilies on the outside. I'm not measuring each one, I'm just using my best judgment and sliding them into place. I'm then placing my next 6 on the inside and once again between each of the lilies. I wanted to add a pop of a deeper, richer color, so I'm using these dark magenta roses from the Dollar Tree. Once again, I pushed the leaves up near the flowers and I cut about a 4-inch stem. To add these roses to my wreath, I'm placing one in the center in between each of the lilies. Once I have my flowers attached, I'm then going to use my glue gun and give each stem a dot of hot glue to help hold them in place. The next set of flowers that I'm adding are these pretty blue wildflowers, and they're from the Dollar Tree as well. I'm using 2 bunches, and what I really like about these are the leaves. They make a perfect filler, so I didn't have to buy any extra greenery. This time I'm cutting the flowers away from the leaves, and I'm going to be saving the leaves to use at the end of my project. Now that I have them all cut, I have 12 little sprigs of the blue flowers, and I'm going to add them to the wreath, placing one on the outside and then one on the inside, and continue this pattern as I work around my wreath. And as I'm working my way around, I'm spacing my flowers out as evenly as possible. In addition to the blue wildflowers, I'm also going to be adding 1 stem of white wildflowers. These 2 came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be snipping the flowers away and hanging onto those leaves to use at a later time. I only have 6 stems of the white flowers, and what I'm doing is I'm just kind of randomly placing them around the wreath here and there, but I'm making sure that they're evenly spaced. This is pretty much my style of how I make a wreath, but you know, everybody makes theirs a little different. To complement the variegated purple lilies, I'm adding in 2 stems of this pretty Dollar Tree lavender. I kept the flowers and the leaves together and cut them into separate stems. There were 10 in all, and I tucked these around the outside where I saw some empty space, once again making sure that I was evenly spacing them as I worked my way around the wreath. Then, to add a bit of balance, I then tucked 3 of them around the center. It has been so cold here in the Northeast, and making this wreath is really getting me excited for spring. If you're enjoying my video and you're new to my channel, please consider clicking on that little red subscribe button below and leaving me a big thumbs up. And if you tap on the notification bell, it will notify you every time I upload a new video. As the last accent for my wreath and to add a bright pop of color, I'm adding in these pretty yellow forsythia flowers, and these I actually had on hand. But the Dollar Tree also has some, so you can pick them up there as well. I've removed them from the main stems, and I'm randomly placing them here and there, and I'm filling in any of the open spaces on the wreath. And once again, I'm making sure that I'm placing them evenly around the wreath to give it a nice balanced appearance. These are the colors that I chose to make my wreath, and I think this bright pop of yellow is really what brought it to life, but you can choose any colors you like, and I think it would look just as pretty. Now that I have all my beautiful flowers added to my wreath, I'm once again going to use my glue gun and tack all the new additions down into place. I'm going to be adding a sign to my wreath, similar to one that I made in a past video, and I'll have that linked below in case you'd like to check it out. To start my sign, I'm using 2 of the 6-inch wooden pallets from the Dollar Tree. I removed the labels from the back, and I'm attaching the pallets together using my Starbond thick glue. This is my go-to glue for all my unfinished wood pieces. It sets up within minutes, and if you'd like to check it out, I have the company along with a coupon code link below in my description. To attach my pallets, I just added some glue to each end, and I pressed them together. Now that my 2 pieces have set up and they're attached, I'm going to use my white acrylic paint and give it a coat. I'm choosing to paint my sign white, but you can choose any color at all that will complement your wreath. While my base is drying, I'm going to be using one of these Dollar Tree welcome words, and they usually come in an assorted 3-pack. I'm using my pink acrylic paint, and I'm going to end up giving it 3 coats. Because it's made of metal and the pink was a bit light, I think that's why it needed that extra 3rd coat. Now that both of my pieces are dry, my welcome word and my base, I'm going to use my E6000 to attach them together. I placed a generous amount on the back of my welcome. And when I was done, I then centered it on my white base. When my sign was dry and completely set up, I gave it a coat of satin Mod Podge. It not only gave my sign a bit of a shine, but it also helped protect to keep the paint from scraping off of the word welcome. Now that my sign is dry, attaching it to the wreath is super easy. I found the center point of my wreath and I tucked it in and under any of the flowers. I then used my glue gun, added a generous amount of hot glue, and attached both sides into place. Now with my sign attached and in place, remember the greenery that we saved from the wildflowers? We're now going to add that to the wreath. Unlike before when I was evenly spacing my flowers around the wreath, I'm just taking the greenery and I'm tucking it in here and there anywhere that I'm seeing an open space. I just continued working my way around the wreath and I'm adding the greenery into all those little nooks and crannies. Once I had used all my greenery and it was in place, I then used my glue gun to attach the stems to the grapevine wreath. The final accent that I'm going to be adding on to my spring wreath is this pretty yellow butterfly that I found at the Dollar Tree. I removed it from the package and added some hot glue onto the back. I then attached it at an angle onto my sign. With my butterfly in place and to finish up, I just worked my way around the wreath and gave all the flowers a good fluffing. When I was done, my Dollar Tree Welcome Spring Wreath is ready to hang, and let me tell you, spring can't come soon enough for me. I hope you enjoyed making this spring wreath with me, and I have several wreaths that I've made throughout the seasons. I have my playlist linked below in my description in case you'd like to check them out. If you're new to my channel and you're thinking, hey, I'd like to come back and hang out with her again, don't forget to click that little red subscribe button below. I will see you all very soon. Bye, everybody.